Hey guys, so I'm going to be going over project one and sort of what the process of this project looks like for you guys, and I'm going to be covering some extra details along the way. So, the first thing you need to do is come up with a business name that's going to give you guys some kind of direction. You can do it as just a completely fictitious business name, or you can do something that involves you, a passion project you'd like to start. You get the idea. Additionally, with that, I want you guys to choose 3 adjectives, and these can help describe the business. And if you come to a point where you need to make a design decision, you can use those adjectives to narrow down what the better choice is. So they serve kind of as guide stones or something that will allow you to sort of figure out where you need to go with something. So I have already chosen mine. I have MW Craft House. It's a workshop that I will be creating with my initials. And I've got creative because it's supposed to be a creative adventure. It's traditional because we're going to be doing a lot of traditional woodworking and other arts and crafts. And it's going to be technical because we're going to be doing different things with, we need to be accurate with some of these things because it's, again, going to be a lot of woodworking. So with that in mind, let me see if I can switch this around. Actually, before we switch to anything else, let me show you guys the images that I have chosen. So here in my project 1 folder, I have a source folder, and then I've got these images. So scale this down. So I've got this one. I kind of liked how it had the R and then this negative space right here. I thought was really cool. There was this one in the bottom here that I thought was really cool, where it has some of these, these voids and then that transition. So there's different elements of these that I'm choosing and I'm going through. This one I really like the text. I liked a lot of what was going on in this one, and I might lean I was going to lean kind of heavily on it. Oddly enough, I didn't use anything from it, so I might still incorporate the established and this handmade product thing at the bottom, but because that kind of aligns with what I was doing. So, and then the last one, I grabbed some images of a hammer, or of 2 different hammers. I thought I might use these. And then there's this one too with sort of, because I want to do some woodworking with furniture, so I might do something like that. Okay, so let's switch to the other camera. Alright, so these are my sketches. Let me slide something under that so you guys can see it better. So I just started out with my 3 words that I had there, and then I did MW Craft House, and then I started sketching logos. So I took that last one of the chair and one of the hammers, and I tried that out. I didn't like where that was going, so I tried both hammers, didn't really like where that was going. Then I tried kind of doing the other one with the letters where I did MW, but I went back and made it thicker so that I could subtract the hammer, but I again didn't like where the hammer thing was going. So again, that's why it's nice when you have multiple images you can use as references, because if you have 10 references and you only need 2 or 3, you can walk away from ones that you don't need, right? So then I continued down. I again tried doing something with thicker letters there, and then I went down to here, and I kind of liked that one right there where I combined the M and the W with some voids in between, and then again I'd be referencing that one with the color transitions. And I kind of tried sketching that out a little bit better with a different pen. And so this last one is probably what I'm going to go with. It should be pretty simple and clean, but we'll see where it goes. So let's switch back. Alright, so we're back in here. So let's go ahead and get started on a design. So I've got Illustrator. And just like with previous things, I'm going to go ahead and start this just as a 6" by 6". We'll do single artboard on this, no bleed. We'll do RGB color and high pixel resolution, and we'll go ahead and go with that. Oh, right, it takes a second. Okay, so of course I just closed the window I needed, so let me go back in to my source folder. So the ones that I'm going to be referencing again are going to be this one down here. So I'm going to have these kind of shapes, and then I'm also going to have kind of a sans serif font like that. like that. Why does it keep coming up this big? So I'll be focusing on the sans serif font, kind of a layout like this. And so let me go ahead and get started on that. So first thing we've got is, let's get some characters here. Now I told you guys we could do different things with fonts. We can outline them and we can, convert them into a shape. So I'm gonna go ahead and, oops, not that. Let's see. All right, so because this is going to be a longer demo, and I'm talking, it will probably take me about 3 hours to work through this. What I'm going to do at this point is I will basically just let this work out, and you guys, I'll replay this it'll go at about 4 or 5x speed, and you guys will see my process as it goes, and I might break in periodically to kind of explain something that I'm doing, but otherwise this is just going to be me working for the next while. So I'm going to let this run, and I'll see you guys whenever I have breaks or when I'm done. Alright, I'm popping back in here. I just wanted to talk about a couple things there if you were watching kind of what I was working on there. Something I usually do and I'm better about doing that I didn't do this time is keeping copies of what I had before I commit changes. And so you guys saw me like kind of throw these over here just to save them for later. But I realized I never saved this rounded version of things, and I kind of wanted to go in this direction with the rounded version of things here, but this pattern here, and I didn't have enough undos to get back to it. So that was my mistake. It's something where I tried to rectify it and I couldn't quite manage it. So I'm at this point I'm pretty much committed to this one right here. Another thing I want to point out is that I do have these different versions. I really like this one, but I'm probably not going to use it because it's just a lot of stuff in there. What I'm specifically keeping this one for right here, and I'm keeping these, I'm going to save this sheet too, just as sort of a backup, is I'm going to use this as a design element in different places once I get to my later design. So I do have a copy of this one without these line cutouts that I can use for various things later. So that's why I have this right here. Oh, actually, I guess I already opened this. So this I'm going to save as my logo. We can probably make this a little bit smaller. So yeah, this will be my final logo. But in certain cases where, say, this text is too small, like if I'm trying to put the logo in like that big on something visually, then we're not going to be able to read this text. So I'm going to have another version of it where it doesn't have all that other stuff. We just have MW Craft House. So let me save this. So this is my full-size logo right here. Where's the class? All right. So I'm gonna. This is more just how I'm working, and this is something I'd run into in the real world. So we need a folder for working files. Go in here, JDO working, or no, JDO logo. We'll save that, and then we'll hop over here and do JDO logo alts, just in case I need to do something else and I need a less busy version of the logo. So I've got these alternates that I can use later in the design. Okay, so we got that saved, and then again we need to take this logo and we need to save a copy of this as a PDF. Now, back to the sheet here. Okay, so we've got our logo. I haven't taken a photo of my sketch. I'm probably not going to do that for this video, but you guys can figure that out. So let's switch to Photoshop. And I'll show you guys kind of what I mean by saving or using that other image. Actually, oh no, wait, we're fine in Illustrator. We don't need Photoshop. So let's start a new Photoshop document. Or sorry, Illustrator document. So we're going to be doing business card. We can just use this default template right here. 3.5 inches wide, 2 inches tall, 1/8 inch bleed. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So I'd recommend you guys use this setup right here. We are going to switch this to CMYK. Does it have print business card? You would think it would, right? We'll change this to inches. We'll do 3.5, 2 inches tall, 2 artboards, and 1/8 inch. Okay, so we'll create that. And then this is now going to be my business card. So when I go and get my logo, I'm going to go grab it and I'm going to drag that PDF in from my working file or folder. Oh, and I exported it with the printer's marks, which I don't want to actually do. That was just for that demo with you guys the other day. So we'll save that and then update, and they're gone. Okay. So we're going to go for a pretty traditional business card. I didn't put in margins on the page, so I'm just going to put in rulers to mark the margins. And that should be good enough for this. Okay, so those are my margins. I've got my logo here. We can go ahead and shrink this down a little bit. And then business card designs. I'm just going to Google a design and copy it. We don't need to go crazy on designing it. Let's see. So I'm going to just copy this in so you guys can see what I'm looking at. This looks like an okay logo, or okay kind of layout that I can work with. So we're just going to shrink this down. And then, so what do? They have the logo here in the center. And that's nice and clean. We'll just put that right there. And then, so I've got a couple things I can do here. So I have these colors built into my logo. One thing I can do is, let's get that actual circle they've got going right there. So we got that and that. Do an overlap. Ungroup. Oops. Make sure I'm getting all the pieces out of here. There's that one. And out. I grabbed too many. Okay. Already ungrouped. Oh, no, we're not. Okay. Let me center this. Okay. Overlap. Ungroup. Okay. So now I've got this right here. We'll just do that so we can see it easier. And then for the fill, we'll actually just sample like one of the colors in the business card or in the design right there. And then again, we'll kind of take that swoop that's going on in that image and we'll try and copy that. So let me find the center again. There we go. And then I should probably go from here where I have that. Let's fill these in so we can see. Okay, so we've got that, and then we'll do another one right there. So that should give us something for that line that we can play with. And then this one will also bring it in that way. So that's how we get that nice line that's complementary to it. Is we just have another shape that's pretty close. And that way this gap stays relatively even. Did I not do that? Let's try it again. So just move it up a tiny bit, copy that, paste it in place, and then something like that. Then we'll move it around after the fact. Okay, so we got those. Clip this, ungroup, and then we can get rid of, I think, everything right there. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. And then we can get rid of these. And then this will just kind of freehand extend out. And then now that we've kind of got that set, that didn't go quite as smoothly as I hoped. But I'll just kind of, like I said, I'll just freehand this. That looks about right. We'll sample some colors from up above. Get a better contrast here. just tweak this around. Oops, don't want that. I want this. Okay. So anyway, yeah, we've got something similar right there. So pretty happy with that. I'm going to keep working in fast forward mode. So I'll see you guys in another break. All right, just real quick, popping back in after doing that. So just to review what I've got for the business card, I went through here and changed a couple things that I just want to point out. So you guys saw that I had my logo here. I also created this alternate logo with white text right here because otherwise it was too dark to fit over there. So that was something I wanted to do. I also need to go back in. I think for the actual logo, I'm going to get rid of this established in. I don't really want that, I think, for most of my logos. So I'm actually just going to remove it entirely, and then if I need it in something, I can put this back in. So we'll just get rid of that, save the logo. Oops. Oh, someone's having fun. Okay. So logo's saved with that updated, and then I'm going to update the original logo as well, again, to get rid of that. So now when I go back into my business card, it should be updated. Let's double check. Links. Where'd it go? Links. Update. Okay, there we go. So now I can make this a little tiny bit larger. Another thing just I want to point out too, what I typically do is I try to stick to two fonts. So I've got one font right here that I was using for the main logo that I used right there for the Damn W Craft House. I used that one for the name, and then the one that I used below for the bespoke creations, I used that same one here. Now, when I went to go do all the lettering here, I realized that it wasn't quite. I don't like it when the what was it, Corbel, when the letters or the numbers do that. I don't like that personally, so I changed it around to not use that. Another thing is I'm not going below 10-point font. That's just a recommendation I have. Now I've told you guys you can use Control-1 to go to actual size. So if I do go out to this actual size, you can see that like those are still readable. But if I take in this down to 8-point font, that's getting hard to read both on the screen, but also if you go to print that. So try and stay above 10-point font. It's fine for here in the logo that's a little bit smaller. And I might just bump this up a little tiny bit in both spots. to make up for that. Okay, so the other thing I want to check too, just double check, is the dimensions. So I got the dimensions right. I have the bleed. Anything that would be workable in the bleed in this gutter right here, as we discussed in the other video, it goes all the way to the edge of the bleed area. And then, oh, and then just for the purposes of this, John Doe, Jane Doe, that's fine. Don't put your actual phone numbers when you submit this. Don't put your actual addresses. I don't want to know those. I don't need to know those. So that's, and then just make up a website, whatever it is for your person. Another thing I could do here is separate these out, and that would make it look a little bit nicer. So if, just to work with some of the things we've talked about and the features in these programs, if I do a right alignment here, change this back to Corbel because I kind of liked that font. And then I could keep these as, or I could go regular here. Oh, of course it's not the same size. Oh, okay, that's the problem. They both got knocked down to 9. Okay, 10. And this might be a case where maybe I need to come in here and scoot all of this over just a tiny bit so I can fit things better. Again, just being aware of, you know, my white space, spacing between here, the bottom, and this edge. And I think that's a pretty good spot for that. And then again, we'll just go through here and we can make that bold, and we could actually make this lighter. We're not going to do typography as a thing in this class, but these are just sort of general best practices, is to kind of do different fonts, different weights for things that, you know, are grouped logically together. So if I do that, that should clear up some of that. I really wish I could switch those around because I just hate the lettering on the other ones. Alternatively, I could, was it 10 point? I could do something like that. That's still a bit too bold, I think, but that at least keeps them on the same lines, and I don't have to go get icons for those. And then just be aware of white spacing too. Like, you don't want this doesn't have to be this big to fully fill in the white space. Realistically, you don't want it that big to fill in this white space because you might eventually need to modify these and, you know, add, I did email. There might be a website that needs to get added in. So try not to like work to your edges like that, where you trap yourself, you know, don't do something like that where you trap yourself in an edge for something that might need to get updated. And then, or if it does, we can just kind of, like, one more row will fit in here, but we're going to choose not to do it right now. I could also choose to line this up right there, but I don't think that looks good, so I'm just going to kind of bias it right there, and I think that looks good. Anyway, so that's my logo. I'll go ahead and save this on my working folder. This is going to be JDoe DC as an Illustrator file, and then we'll file save as again as a PDF. Okay, the next thing we need is going to be the postcard. So let's start another document. And I'm going to keep that open because I'm going to reference back to it. So this is going to be 6 inches tall, 4 inches, 6 inches wide, 4 inches tall, 2 artboards, 1/8 inch bleed, CMYK. Okay, and then we're going to use the same design language I've gotten from here in the other thing. So I'm just going to copy this stuff straight across. So now here I am in my postcard. I've got these same design elements. This helps establish a brand language for this company. So if I, you know, if you see some, you know, marketing where here's my business card, and then you come over across to a postcard and see basically the same design, that's a really good hint that they've kind of spent some time getting their marketing together. They've got a consistent design. It's really nice to see that. Another thing I'll do is I'll copy this over, and because this is a postcard, we have a bit more space to work with, and what I'm going to do is just do a white fill on this. Again, just mimicking, if I go back to the business card, mimicking what I did right here. So I'm trying to keep things consistent once I've done something. And we're going to go ahead and go, there's our telephone, and then here's our website. Why does that look off? Okay. And then this will be, we'll just say www.mwc.com. So, really nice way to, again, maintain that brand language and visuals throughout multiple pieces. It keeps things consistent, looks more professional. We'll go ahead and crank this up to 12 because we've got a little bit more space. And then, again, I didn't put rulers in for the margins here, but we'll pretend they're there. And then for the back, let's go ahead and steal some images. Say it's furniture design. So we're gonna go grab some images of furniture. Let's see. We'll grab this. Oh, I think I remember watching this dude's YouTube video. Weird. Okay. So I'm just gonna get a couple images here. And again, you know, your point is you want to communicate what's going on. What is this? What is your client in this, you know, quote unquote client? What is their business? What are they doing in a way that people can kind of easily understand? And then, oh, here's a fun one. Let's grab that one. Okay. And I'm also sort of trying to keep kind of the same color pattern too, right? So I'm kind of going for neutral with a lot of browns in this case. Oh, nope, someone already put stuff on that one. Here's another. And just let those snaps work their way in. Okay, so there's some nice images right there. And then another thing we can do is, let's just flip this around. And then this is just like a lazy hack for, if you do something like that and then just put it on front, you get that same arc that we had here. We're keeping that design language consistent. And then, oh right, and then so that I have, where's my backup logos? Open recent, alts. So I can come back here, I can reference this. We could do something fun like throw this back up in here. And then just make this like super transparent, so it's just kind of like an overlay. Another thing we could do is make it just super big. Now let's go with this one. And so, again, I'm just trying to pull some of these design elements back and forth, repeat them where I can. And then, let's see, this needs to come up. this, copy this once. Actually, let's get it out of there. Yeah. Make clipping mask, paste in place. And then we'll just make the fill on this one right here ever so slightly, just like a little tiny bit lighter. Come on, there we go. So we're just gonna nudge that out just like that. And then now you've got like kind of the ghost of that sitting right on top. We can move this around if we need to. So if I want it to just kind of be like that. And then again, we'll go back, we'll steal this text and actually, well, and I'll go grab some lorem ipsum. I don't really care what the text is, so let's see. Make a block of text. Okay. So we'll just have this right here. Make it white. And then this is some kind of ad. And if you remember, we talked about doing the different justifications. So I can drop this down. Again, not going below 10-point font. And then we'll do left justified. -8 is still unchecked, which is good. And then, what did I have? I had this chunk that I cut off of there. So then this, we'll just make this larger, bold. And you can see how that, this effect right here, like just kind of nicely sits in the background there. Not doing much. And then we can make this go off the screen. That could be fun. Let's make it where's your info? Why won't you let me? Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's make this 4 pixels tall. Oh, it did it. No. 2 pixels. And see if we can center it here. That's the midpoint, and there we go. Okay. And then just to double check, actually I kind of like how this front's going. So let's bring this back here. And it's not gonna really let me center this the way I want because it's 2 separate chunks of text. So I'm just gonna try and nudge this into the right spot right there, and that's close enough. Okay, so we'll just get rid of these. We'll keep this consistent branding on the front, and then we'll have this artwork for the back. Let me just clean this up. Don't worry about if you did something like this, where I have this overlay right here. Don't worry about that, that's just gonna sit there. Don't worry about these, they'll just get ignored when we save everything. So, we'll go ahead and save this. This is my JDO PC. So that's a PDF file for that. And then Illustrator for the postcard. Okay, now we need to switch to Photoshop. What? Go away. Okay. So, the thing I'm specifically trying to catch you guys out with the web ad is I have you guys doing a lot of work in vectors, but we also do need to make sure we can still work in, oh, where's the file? Close that. In pixels as well. So I'm trying to catch you guys out So for those of you who are still watching, this is how you get around it. So we're going to do 600 by 200. We're going to do 300 DPI, CMYK, 8-bit, white background, create. Okay, so this is the space I want to work in, and what I really want to make sure doesn't happen is you guys. Let me go back here. So what I don't want to see specifically in here is this art object. Is you guys take sort of the same content that you had. Oops, where'd it go? Okay. So like I did all this text right here, right, in Illustrator, but it's on a much larger piece. When you bring this into Photoshop, what I want you guys to recognize is that this right here is not going to work here in Photoshop. And that's got more to do with, let me just do another text block. Okay. Make it dark. We'll go back up to 10-point font. So what's going to happen is you guys are going to come in here. Come on, get out of here. And you're going to, paint you're going to post some or paste something in straight out of Illustrator, and you go, oh, that's too small, or it's too large. I will just make the font size smaller so that it fits. And the reason you can't do that is this is a web ad. So if this is real size, that doesn't even look right. If you try and make it equivalent, yeah, it's 4-point font. I don't know. It's too small, really. That's not 100%. That's not right. Oh, it is 300 DPI. That's why. Let me change it. Image size 72, but maintain 300 or 600 by 200. Okay. So, anyway, once you've done this, for example, it shouldn't. You're going to have to alter your content, is what I'm saying. So, like, that's going to be hard to read when that shows up on a website. It might even, I know I've got some UI scaling on this screen, so this might be more accurate to the actual size it would show up at. So that's why you want to just kind of think of these designs as linked and similar, but not like something you can keep ripping stuff out of. So let's get our logo in here. I'm going to import it just like I did with other stuff. And then you can even see right there, I might be losing, oh no, we've got those came across. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of repeat some of the same design elements. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to steal this whole set of stuff I've got right there. Oops. Back to Photoshop. And oh, right. Even I'm tripping myself up. Let's grab one at a time. There we go. Just sure. And so then all I'm going to do is just, well, the other thing to be aware of here is that if you have too many images in here, because this is for web, it's going to be very small. So it might be best to just choose one and put your best foot forward. So we'll do this one right here. We'll say, hey, here's our really cool piece of furniture. And then we'll just throw one layer on top. We'll do a big ellipse. Why can we not? Fine, we'll do a circle. And make sure it's big enough. Oh, geez. Still got the layer styles from from the demo the other day. Let's see. Okay. We'll do white fill. There it is. No, that's not it. Oh, we want no stroke. There we go. Okay. So now I've got this cleaned up, sort of. And then we'll just move these two to the back. And then we'll just reposition this. Because again, what's the point of a web ad? Well, I'm advertising it online. It's going to link back to my website. So I don't really need to put any more information in this. So think about kind of the space that you're using the ad in. And specifically in this case, it's on the web. I don't need to include my phone number. This is just going to link back to my website, right? So really simple. Keep the web app dirt simple like that. Don't go any more into it than you need to than that. So we'll go back, put this in our working folder. JDO, this is the web ad. What did I tell you guys to call it? Just web, okay. So here's the web ad. And then again, trip you up, I'm gonna have you guys export it as a JPEG. That's PNG, so we'll switch to JPEG. 6 is fine, I guess. And again, in the working folder. All right, so that takes care of the pieces that we need for this. Let's go ahead and open up InDesign, which is gone over here. Why are you here? Let's try that again. Oh, I'm on a crazy old version, that's why. Okay. No, what's going on? Everything's up and weird. Look, it's even there. Okay. Okay, so we're here in InDesign. We need to put together our poster. This is going to be, we're going to use inches again. It's going to be 11 by 17 or 17 by 11, however you want to do that. I only need one page, one column, one, and then standard margins are fine. Okay, so this is a tight space. From past experience, I can tell you guys that there's not a lot of space for everything in here, so you're gonna have to kind of be careful about how you do it. So we'll go through here. First, we need to place our business card. Now remember, you don't just drag it in here. You have to go to File, Place, and then we'll choose from our working folder the business card first. Don't forget to check Show Import Options. And then we'll go ahead and uncheck transparent background, crop to artwork. So that way we don't have to see the bleed. We don't have to deal with any of the other stuff, and it's white, so we don't have to deal with that. We'll go ahead and hit all so we get both pages, and we'll hit OK. So then I can just place this right here and right there. Let's go away. Adobe, stop this. I don't want it. Okay. We'll go to place again. We'll grab our logo. This is going to be just crop to art. Same settings. Oops. Click away. There we go. There's our logo. Oops. We'll grab a little bit more space in between them so I can put labels on them up there. We need to place our postcard. The postcard's the rough one because this one's going to be the largest of them all. We will place again our web ad, and thankfully that's just a JPEG. Okay, so how do we arrange all this? Let's see. I could probably take this down a little bit. Oops. Right, because I'm using a different version. Go away. So I'm going to make my logo just a little bit smaller there, so it's easier to fit everything in. We'll go ahead and move these down. Come on. So I can put the business cards front and back like that, and that'll save a little bit of space. The web ad can go here. These can go here. And then technically I would need to include, oh, this is the margin, right? Yeah, we can go right up to the margin. This needs to come up a tiny bit, but try and keep them to the actual scale too. We don't want to shrink anything. And then let's go through here. We'll add our text. So this is business card front. And then we'll just make sure that we get everything on this right. So, there it is. Okay. So I'm just going to bump that font just a tiny bit up. Okay, so there's our business card front. Or no, this is postcard. So this is postcard back. And these two, I'm just going to bump them a tiny bit up to keep that in the margin. This is postcard front. Copy this up. And again, I'm going to bias this so it's a little bit closer there so there's no confusion. This is going to be our web ad. And I'm going to take it a tiny bit down again. This can go up in the corner there. And then if I had already scanned in my logo, which I haven't done, see, it's so nice that it does that automatically. You don't have to keep switching back and forth like you do in the older versions. Okay, this is our business card front. Actually, this is back. And then it looks like I got my measurements wrong. So this actually needs to be expanded to 3.5. No, 3.5 inches. Somehow that got shrunk. So keep an eye out. Never hurts to make sure you're getting something right or wrong. 2 inches. Okay. So something happened there. Probably some weird buffering thing or something. Okay, so. Because that's more like what that should have looked like. Okay. And then we'll go through and we need to do a label for our logo. And then we'll just do logo. All right, and then for everything here, again, we're going to throw on a drop shadow just to kind of make them pop a little bit. So then we will do, everything's moved around. Object. Okay, so then we'll just do normal 25. Oh, my caps lock's off. That's part of it. Okay, 25. Check the preview, and then we'll just shrink the distance in. Let's do it up to 50. Come on. 50%? Okay. So we've got that right there, and then we'll go ahead and just repeat that process. So object effects, drop shadow. Actually, let's just select a bunch of them at a time and see if it'll let us do that, because that would be smarter. Object effects. Oh, I got. Okay. Effects, drop shadow, normal. I think we did 50%. Take it in. That looks about right. Okay. Yep. All right. So again, that drop shadow just separates out some of that white space so that I can kind of see what's going on. You guys would still have to put in your sketches. And again, I don't have mine here to put in, but I could theoretically just like move things around down here. Oh, of course. InDesign being a pain. Okay. Come on. Wait, where did my image go? There it is. So I would have space to kind of jam these up here. And then I could put, I don't give you guys an order, so I could put the sketch right in that space right there. And that, these all need to go away. Okay. So then once you've got all this put together, I now have my logo, my business cards, my postcards, my web ad, and theoretically a sketch right there. And then that's it for the project. So what is this? This is 2024. Jeez. I need to uninstall this. Okay. Where are we? Project 1. Oh, and then the InDesign goes in the main folder. So this is JDoe presentation InDesign, and then export as PDF for print. Export. And that is all. So that's generally what I'm expecting. Just putting all these designs together and then getting a presentation for it. So I will see you guys in class. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, good luck.